Folks, welcome to another edition of PlayBranson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name's Chris Myer. I'm going to be your host for today, and on today's show, we have Megan Mabe over at the Baldknobbers Theater. And Megan was on the show. It's been over 4 years, so it's been a long time since she has been on the show. So we're looking forward to hearing from her and what's going on in her life and what's going on over at the Baldknobbers. Here's the thing, the other day was actually announced, I wanted to mention this, is we have a new show coming to town. It's a limited engagement, and you wouldn't think of this person doing a show, but it's Terry Bradshaw. And Terry's going to be doing a show in Branson, and that's going to be like the first 4 days, the 1st of August, and over at the Clay Cooper Theater. But here's a little bit of trivia, and I'm not going to tell you the answer to this question. You're going to have to... Terry Bradshaw has a connection to an entertainer here in Branson from many years ago. And it was on one of our first episodes of PlayBranson. So here's the deal. If you go to our Facebook page today, well, or not necessarily today, anytime, and you can tell me the connection between Terry Bradshaw and an entertainer in Branson, the first person that does that, I'm going to give you some free Cold Stone ice cream. How about that? So go on our Facebook page and put your answer in. And if it's the right answer, I will give you some free Cold Stone. So some other tips, if you are thinking about vacation here in Branson, or maybe you're here in town watching this, be sure to check out the Flavor of Branson Dining Guide. You can see every restaurant in town and a listing of every restaurant. There's tons of coupons in there. It's a great way to save money. It's a free publication. You can typically find those in hotel lobbies around Branson. Also, by the time this is out there, we will hopefully have our new PlayBranson magazine out that gives you a great perspective of everything to do in town. And then if you're local watching this and you haven't got your dining passport yet, the question is, why not? Because you can save a lot of money with the dining passport. You can go to there. You can go to thediningpassport.com and you can save it at over probably about 40 restaurants in town, and it's a great savings. You got to buy it, but it won't take much, and you'll be making money. And it also goes to help K-Life Youth Ministry, a great ministry here in town. So, folks, we'll be back in just a second with Megan Mabe.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson, and today on the show, for the first time ever, by herself, Megan Mabe.
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
So you were on like 4 years ago, but that's with your husband, and so...
Right. It's my first solo adventure.
Your first solo, yeah.
He's usually the one that does all the talking.
Yeah. Well, so maybe somebody doesn't know who you are. They had never seen the show, and we're going to talk about the show in the second half, which is what we always do. But talk to people about how you got in the entertainment business, and take us way back, because we always like to know that.
Sure. Well, I grew up, I always loved to sing as a little girl. I started out singing in church, and that's where I really got my start. And I went all the way through college singing in different vocal groups and different types of singing activities. And once I graduated, I had an English and journalism degree. That's what I majored in college. And
so you weren't planning to be in this business?
No, I thought it was just something that would be a hobby. It was never really something I thought would be a career or something that I'd do for my entire life. So my folks moved down near the area for a job move. And when they moved, I've always been a homebody, so I said, I'll just move along with you. And they said, well, you love to sing. Why don't you go have some fun in Branson, do a little singing, and then go get your real writing or journalism job, your real job, you know. And I came here, I auditioned for the Shoji Tabuchi show, and I auditioned in the morning, and I was at rehearsal that night. And
so they hired you on the spot?
On the spot. I started that very same day, and I've been doing this ever since.
Yeah. And so how long were you at Shoji's?
I was there almost 2 full years.
Okay.
Almost 2 full years, and then I moved over to Baldknobbers. It's kind of a funny story, actually. They had a job opening, and my mom said, you should go audition for the Baldknobbers. And some of the folks that I was good friends with said, oh, you'll never get hired there. They only hire family members over there. Don't waste your time. But I went anyways. I thought, well, hey, I'll give it a shot. I called my mom after the audition. I was bawling. I said, it's the worst audition I've ever had. It was terrible. Didn't hear a word for a couple weeks and thought, well, I'm not going to get that job. And then sure enough, they called me and said, hey, we'd like to bring you on board. And I've been there ever since.
So now when they said they'd like to bring you on board, were you at that time still working at Shoji's?
No, okay. Nope. I had ended at Shoji's and was kind of taking a little bit of a break to sort of decide if I wanted to do the writing journey or if I wanted to still do music, and music was the path that God kind of took me down.
Yeah. So I want to go back because you talked about in college you were in some groups. Now, was that part of like the college curriculum, or were you just doing that kind of on the side? Or
I did that on the side. I was really fortunate that the school that I went to, it's a little liberal arts college in Pella, Iowa. That's where I grew up, town of tulips. And they had a program there that was for folks that maybe didn't want to go down the classical or opera or that type of music path, that wanted to do more the modern or country or something like that. So I joined that group and got a lot of really exciting opportunities. We traveled to Mexico, to Paris, to London, all sorts of different things. So that really got me curious about going into the journey of actually doing music full time. But again, I thought in Iowa there's not a lot of opportunities to do music full time. So it was never really something I thought would be potentially a lifelong career. But when we moved down here, I saw Branson and it kind of fell into place.
So I got to ask the question, because I know everybody out there that's watching wants to know, is Pella Windows from Pella, Iowa?
Yes.
There we go.
My entire family has always worked for Pella Windows. I worked for Pella Windows in college. So yes, it is in my hometown, and I think my whole family has worked and retired from there. So
there's a little bit of stuff you're not ever going to get on the stage. Like that's a little history right there.
Trivia right there.
And Pella, Iowa, is a Dutch community.
It is. Yes. Right? Yes, I'm almost fully Dutch. My grandparents spoke Dutch when I was growing up, especially if they didn't want us to know what they were talking about. Then they really spoke Dutch. But as we got older, we started to learn sort of what some of those words meant. So we would sometimes know what they were talking about. But
So you were in a Christmas play, and you auditioned for a solo way back in the day, and so you sang Silent Night here, right? Mm-hmm. So that was like one of your first solos you ever did?
Yes, it was in, oh gosh, I don't even know how old I was. Young, very young. And the music director said they had an opening for a solo, and I said, oh, I want to try. And she said, oh, honey, solo means you have to do it by yourself. And I said, no, I understand what that means. And I auditioned and got the solo, and that's kind of where my family started to learn that maybe I had some singing potential.
So you go to the Baldknobbers, and so besides it being just a job, it also like something else kind of happened there as well.
Right. I met my now husband, Brandon Mabe, and so it's kind of become a family affair. It's a full-time 24/7 type of job. So, and I'm very blessed and lucky to get to do it with my husband every day. Not very many people get that opportunity.
So I just got to ask the question, like, do you ever fight about the song you're going to put in the show or
Absolutely.
sing?
We'll go back and forth all winter long. That's when we pick songs, and sometimes we'll have disagreements on what would be best, and I'll give him credit. Most of the time he's right on song choices. Not always. Sometimes I'm right, but most of the time he's right on. He's very talented at putting the show together and having a good flow and a good order. So I trust his instincts, and most of the time I'll give in.
Okay, Brandon, if you're watching this, you just heard her say that. Most of the time, like, the guy always has to give in, right?
Right.
So how long have you been there now? Like,
I started Baldknobbers in 2010. So it's been 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah, it doesn't feel possible, but
And so you, of course, you were a part of, for a short amount of time, you guys had the Branson famous reality TV show, and so you were a part of that.
Yes.
And I know, people, I guess people can go watch it somewhere on the internet.
It's still out there.
It's still out there. And that was a unique show because you did acting and singing. And of course, it's a reality TV show, so sometimes it's not real. But they got to people make it think it's real.
Correct.
And some of those kind of things. So that was probably an interesting time for you when you were doing that.
It was an exciting and fun opportunity. I wouldn't take it back. It was, like you say, a reality show is only so much reality, but you're doing your job if people believe it. So hopefully we did our job there, but it was fun. It was fun to play different roles and kind of be in the TV world for a little bit.
Yeah. That's going to be a good stopping point. We'll stop right here, and we're going to be back in just a moment with Megan, and we're going to talk about all the shows that they've got going on at their theater this year. Hey folks, welcome back to the show, and we are here today with Megan Mabe from over at the Baldknobbers Show. And Megan, maybe somebody's never seen the Baldknobbers, and tell people what they can expect and what they're going to get, and maybe even a little history of the Baldknobbers.
Sure. Well, we're on our 62nd year at the Baldknobbers. So the Baldknobbers were inducted into the Smithsonian, so that's a really neat thing. But just because we've been around for 62 years doesn't mean that we're old, we're tired. The show is constantly modernized. We're constantly working to appeal to a new generation and all sorts of different demographics. My husband's family is the family that started the Baldknobbers, the Mabe family, the four Mabe brothers. Droopy Drawers was my husband's grandfather. So that's kind of where that history takes place. And it's amazing that a show can withstand 62 years. Not very many can. So I find myself bragging on that just because it's such a neat opportunity for me to get to step into a show that has such longevity. So, but yeah, like I said, even though it's been around 62 years, we're not old, we're not tired. We've got all sorts of things, but we still pay tribute to some of those older things. We try to have things for everyone in the crowd: grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, brother, sister, everybody.
So a typical Branson kind of show, you're going to have, of course, country music, and are you going to have other types of music in the show?
We do. We've started really branching out to try to include different types of music into this show. So of course our bread and butter is country music. We love country, but we also have Southern rock. We have some classic rock for those that like classic rock, like my parents. I'm singing an Adele song this year, so we've got some pop in there, gospel, patriotic, pretty much a little bit for everybody. And that's our goal, to try to pinpoint something that no one leaves disappointed. There was a song in there for you.
Yeah. And then comedy, do you still have comedy?
We have comedy. Hargis Marcel is our comedian. He's hysterical. He does a fantastic job. One of the funniest comedians in Branson. And this year he has some fun treats up his sleeve. I won't give them away, but it's worth coming out.
There we go. So typical nights that you guys are performing, or days, or talk about that.
Right now our typical schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m. shows, and then Wednesday, Thursday, We have matinees right now. Wednesday is a 2 o'clock show, which is our gospel show, which is all gospel music. And then Thursday is our regular show, just at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, so some different times. Now, you mentioned the gospel show, and so that is a completely different show.
Yes.
And you have a guy that's an incredible singer
Yes.
that's part of that gospel show, and he's also part of your evening show too.
He is, Dan Keaton.
Yes.
He's amazing. He's part of the Gospel Hall of Fame. He's fantastic. He's worth coming out just to hear him sing one song, because he's been blessed with an unbelievable voice. And we're blessed to have him in both shows. He does all kinds of different things, so it's definitely one to catch.
So I interviewed him, I don't know, it's maybe been a year or two ago, but it was a pretty incredible interview. So go back and watch that show if you haven't seen it. Now, you're going to do another show called, what, Baldknobbers Vintage?
Baldknobbers Vintage. That's for some of the folks that want to maybe revisit kind of that 70s, 80s era of Baldknobbers, where they did some of those older songs. Even into, believe it or not, the 90s can become vintage. And today, believe it or not, that seems wild. But yeah, a little bit of the vintage, the good old stuff. So if, I think every show will have something to offer, and I think all three are worth catching because they all have something different.
Yeah. Now that vintage show, when's that going to start?
That will start in the fall, and it will be Thursday matinees.
Thursday matinees.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then you guys do a Christmas show, or you tweak the show for Christmas, right?
Christmas is always my favorite time of the year. We keep the best of the regular season show in the first half, and then second half is dedicated entirely to Christmas. So it's all the good stuff. And again, in the Christmas show, we try to really appeal to everyone, put everybody's favorite songs. You always want to hear ones that you're familiar with, you know the lyrics. So we try to pick the ones that you want to hear when you go to a Christmas show.
Now, also at the theater, you have Reza over there and Doug Gabriel. And so you guys are pretty busy at that theater. Between what y'all are doing and those guys, what they're doing, you're pretty busy over there.
Yeah, it's moving and grooving every day. We've got 3 shows a day, almost 7 days a week. So it's constantly going. So it's good.
Now, in the past, you guys have also done and been involved with Jammin' for Jesus, right? And are you guys still doing that?
Yes, we still have Jammin' for Jesus at the theater. It's the first Sunday of every month. So that's a great time to come out and hear a bunch of gospel music. There's all kinds of guests. It's free to the public with donations. So it's a great opportunity to see some free gospel on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, the first Sunday of every month.
Yeah, so not every Sunday.
Right, just the first.
Just the first Sunday. Okay, now, I try to do research ahead of time. And Mark said I shouldn't ask this question, but you know what? I'm going to ask it anyway.
Go for it.
Because I think I already know the answer.
And so, I don't know what's coming.
So I went back and this interview I found of you was from 2014. That's a long time ago. You can find a lot of stuff on the internet, right?
Right.
And so here's what it was. Is it says, I think they asked you, what did you want to be doing 5 years from now? And here's what you said.
What did I say?
You said, here's what you said. I've got the quote here. It says, I want to be singing on the Baldknobbers stage and still wearing the same size outfits I'm wearing now. And so I'm like, well, I know she's singing on the Baldknobbers stage, but I'm like, is she still wearing the same size outfits? And I think you are.
I have accomplished that goal.
Yes.
I have accomplished the goal. Yes.
So I call myself a 2%er. Now, a 2%er, and we talk about goals. 98% of people don't set goals. And so I'm a 2%er. I set goals. So you can be a 2%er too. And she was a 2%er because she set a goal and she met it.
And I stayed with it, yes.
You had no idea this was coming.
No, I didn't. But I'm glad that I didn't have to tell you, no, I haven't failed.
So what type of, if you could sing any song on stage without, whether it's country, rock, or whatever, what would be the song that you would want to sing on stage?
Any song on stage, gosh. Probably... It's one of my favorite to sing. I sing it in the gospel show. It's How Great Thou Art. It's my favorite song. It was my grandmother's favorite song, and it means so much to me, and I just love it. That'd be the song I'd pick.
Okay, and so you're already singing it. You're already singing it.
I'm already singing it, obviously, so I love it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking maybe you might say some 80s rock song, because I understand.
I love 80s rock.
That's what I heard,
I
that
do.
you like 80s.
I like 80s rock. Yes, I love 80s rock.
Yeah. I'd like to hear some more Van Halen and Bon Jovi.
Hey, there you go.
Living on a Prayer. That's a great song. You could take some of those songs and Bransonize them.
Oh, you absolutely could. And we've done some of that. This year we've started doing that with some classic rock. So we're doing some Fleetwood Mac this year and some fun stuff like that. So we're branching out.
Okay, folks, go see the Baldknobbers over there on Highway 165. It's just down, I don't know, what's the address? Do you know the address?
645 Highway 165. You take a left when you're on the strip at the Titanic, take a left, go on down, you'll find it on the right.
Yep, it's on the right. For those, if you haven't been to Branson for a while, it used to be the Acrobats Theater, but now it's the Branson Famous Theater featuring Branson's longest running show, 62 years.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
great accomplishment. And so hats off to you guys. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
And we'll be back in just a minute with a little wrapping up the show here on PlayBranson. Hey folks, be sure to go check out the Baldknobbers Show over at their theater over on Highway 165 over there. It's Branson's Famous Theater, so you want to check out Megan and Brandon and the rest of the crew over there. One of the longest running shows in Branson. Now, if you have an entertainer you'd like to see on the show, let us know, because sometimes it's really hard to get these entertainers because their schedules are crazy. We only film on certain days, obviously, and so sometimes it takes us a while, but go to our Facebook page, let us know, and we'll do our best to get them on. I've got some summer concerts that are happening, just to let you know about that. On June 27th, Russ Taff is going to be over at the Nashville Star Theater with the Mark Allred Jukebox Live. And then also on July 11th, he has Anthony Gomez. And I don't know a lot about Anthony, but looking at him online, he's the #1 Billboard blues artist. So he's very big in the blues world, has had some top albums on Billboard. And so really interested to see that. Earlier in the show, I was talking about Terry Bradshaw. If you don't know who Terry Bradshaw is, he's a legendary professional football player. He'll hit the stage this summer in Branson with his musical, comedy, and storytelling production, The Terry Bradshaw Show. That's a limited engagement. It's going to be August 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 6th over at the Clay Cooper Theater. And once again, if you know the connection he has to an existing Branson entertainer, go to our Facebook page and put it in. If you're the first, and it is what I think it is, you'll get some free Cold Stone ice cream. Also coming up soon, July 24th, one of probably the most influential artists in the Christian world, Chris Tomlin, will be in Branson over at Silver Dollar City. If you like that type of music, you'll want to check that out. Here's the deal also, folks. If you need help planning your entire Branson vacation, you can go to ibranson.com or call those folks at 877-ENTERTAIN. They can help plan your entire Branson vacation. And be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or you can go to playbranson.com and see all of our past episodes. We want to thank you for watching, and let's keep those entertainers going. So support Branson's entertainment. We need your help, folks, to get the economy going back. They've had a tough time, and we want to support Branson entertainers. Thanks for watching.